Welcome back to the Graciously Broken podcast. This week we have something extra special for you guys. Today is Wednesday, May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. It is also Amanda Tornberg's 18th birthday of her sobriety. So wherever you are, give a woohoo and send her just some love and prayer and encouragement. You can do that on our Facebook page, or if you have her number, text her, tell her you're proud of her and that you love her. I know I can speak for everybody on staff that we are just so grateful for her leadership, for her teaching abilities, for her passion, just for everything that she is. So I'm grateful for you and I love you.
Thank you.
You have to be in the mic.
Thank you.
We have an extra special guest today, too. Amanda's mother, Sheila. Hey, Miss Sheila.
Hello.
Miss Sheila is on our board. She is also on staff. She is our treasurer, so we are so grateful for her. And I wanted her to come in and just kind of hear from both of you guys kind of what the journey has been like these last 18 plus, really it's more than 18 years. It's 18 years of sobriety, but there was a lot of years before that. And if you didn't catch last week's episode, I talked about my experience as a sibling, and so I thought it'd be really good to hear from a mama. And I know that just hearing from you talk, Miss Sheila, and also you share your story, she was very instrumental, I believe,
Right.
In your recovery. And so, be sure to like and subscribe if you have a second. Comment down below any questions or thoughts you might have, and let's do this, huh?
All right.
Cool. So, I guess, T, I would love to know, like, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
Exciting. It's been a good day so far. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there anything that you is there any tradition that you do or anything that you try to think about on today?
We usually always go out to eat. We've done that since the very first year just to kind of celebrate that time together. Mm-hmm. So that's the one tradition we have.
Yeah.
Every time the new year comes, it's just, it seems so long ago, and then it seems like only yesterday, no matter how long I got clean. So.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like God has kind of revealed anything in you or rejuvenated anything in you this year that's different from the past? Or is there anything new that you've learned as a recovering addict?
I mean, hopefully you're always learning. I'm learning. A lot of it for me is just that consistency. Like you no matter whether you have a day clean or 18 years clean, you still have to do the same things to keep it and to maintain it, and so it's easier the longer you have clean to become complacent and think that it's not as important as it used to be until you get in a place where you're all jacked up in your head and you're like, oh, wait, I haven't been doing this, and so I think for me this morning, what I started was just really acknowledging the things that I'm not fully surrendering to God and saying, hey, look, I just like I was addicted to drugs, I mean, this other area is taking hold of me and I need your help. I can't, I'm no more, I have no more power over this than I did that.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. And I love how transparent you are with us as a staff, and I'm sure with the girls too, of just, you don't pretend to have everything figured out.
Right.
Like, you definitely have your non-negotiables. You definitely know what works for you. You know what's right, but you, just that mindset of, like, whether it's been a day or 18 years, it is work. It is a challenge. It is something that, is a lifelong process.
Right.
And you're constantly kind of having to be reminded of who you are and whose you are, and let that affect how you live your life in recovery.
Right.
So I really respect and appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Miss Sheila, I would love to hear from you. And just, if you have anything you want to say to her, go for it. But if not, that's okay. But I would love to kind of just know, like, what was your journey like as a mom with a daughter who was battling addiction?
Well, first of all, I'm very proud of her because she has worked hard all these years to keep her sobriety. And as a mama, when you're going through that, you look back and you wonder, what in the heck did I do wrong? But in the end, it was that child's choice, and all I kept on praying.
Yeah.
I kept on struggling with her.
Yeah.
Because there's times you didn't know where they were or what she was
Sure.
doing, but you just prayed.
Yeah.
And God would always, when I really, truly asked for him and surrendered to him during this process, he would show me scriptures to help me keep moving.
Yeah.
And so it was a long journey, and we wondered at times, was it ever going to end?
Yeah.
But it did, and praise God, it ended, and we've grown, all of us have grown in it.
Yeah. I love y'all's relationship too. You know, like it's very clear how close you guys are and how much you love each other and respect and appreciate each other. Amanda, for you, you know, what did your mom do that kind of impacted you the most? Whether at the time it was you felt hurt about it, but in the end, you know, it was a good thing or that kind of thing.
I think the main thing that she did that helped was she prayed all those years, even in the midst of what I would imagine seemed pretty hopeless.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I always knew she was there.
Yeah.
And that's why both times I got clean, she was the one I went to.
Yeah.
Like I remember, well, the first time I went to jail, so I really didn't have much choice. But the second time I remember that she was the one, I remember telling my friend, I've got to get to my mom. If I can just tell my mom, she'll get me help.
Yeah.
And so I always knew, even the times where she kicked me out of the house because of my choices, I always knew she loved me.
Yeah.
And she was always there. So
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. You don't have to enable them to stay in it for them to feel like you love them.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like I got kicked out on my birthday. I'll never forget it. She handed me my birthday present. She said, "Now get out." You know? And I couldn't blame her.
Yeah.
Like it just was what it was, And so even in that, she helped me find furniture and stuff for the place that I did find,
Yeah.
So.
Miss Sheila, what was kind of one of the hardest things for you as a mom to do?
I think it was the times that I didn't know where she was. Like she had left one time and was gone 2 weeks. I had no clue where she was. And her dad and I would just drive around town just hoping to find her vehicle.
Yeah.
That was hard, not knowing if she was alive or not. Was she safe?
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the hard times.
How, I guess for the other mamas out there, what advice would you give them if they're in that season that you were in, 18 years ago? What advice would you give them? An encouragement?
I would say don't give up. Don't just quit praying. Don't quit. Yes, you have to do some hard things, but never totally give up on them.
Yeah.
Because if you be consistent with it and you keep praying and you keep keeping your eyes on the Lord, because I'm telling you, there were times when I thought, I'm not going to make it tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose it all. And God would say, I am here.
Yeah.
And I will help your children come home.
Yeah.
And so you just can't give up. You just pray, and you pray because sometimes you think, is this ever going to end? But it does if you just keep looking to the Lord for help, because I'd have gone nuts if I hadn't had him.
Yeah. What kind of things did you learn, whether it was something you did once and it worked, and maybe there was something you tried and it didn't work the way you wanted it to, but as far as boundaries go, like how was that process for you to set those boundaries with your little tyke over here?
Well, it was very hard because I dealt with that enabling the whole time, and I had to fight it a lot of times.
Yeah.
And finally, I just let go and just, say, okay, this has got to be done.
Yeah.
And when I finally said, you got to go. And that is one of the hardest things a mama can do, because it goes against everything
Yeah.
that you know as a mom, because you love that child so much. And the fact that you got to say, you got to go,
Yeah.
it was just very gut-wrenching. But
Yeah.
now that I look back, it was the best thing we did.
Yeah.
When we finally said, you got to go.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of parents can relate to that. I'm sure my parents can relate to that too. And it doesn't make it easier. That moment when you decide, okay, this is it. Like, I can't do anything else for you right now. I'm always here. The door is always open. I'm ready when you are. But we have to set some clear boundaries and protect everybody involved. So I applaud you for sure. And I know that it's hard, and I haven't experienced that level of pain because I'm not a parent, but I've seen it, and I've observed it, and it's really hard to watch and kind of be on the sidelines for it. How did your relationship change? Okay, I have like a lot of questions going through my brain, so I'm like, how do I say all these? I guess that's my first question: is how did your relationship change once she got sober? And the last time she got sober and stayed sober, 18 years ago, what was kind of going through your mind at the beginning of that process?
A little excitement or a lot of excitement. Oh, this is it, this is it. But then in the back of your mind, you have to say, today.
Yeah.
Today she's clean. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So you wake up and say, okay, God, she's clean now, and I pray that she stays clean.
It's one day at a time for the parents, too.
You're right, exactly.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that first time I really got squirrely, man, wanting to get high, and it freaked her out. I mean, she had called a prayer meeting up at the church with all of her friends, and at first I'm thinking, well, that's a little much, but then I realized, like, I did that to her.
Yeah.
I did that to her.
Yeah.
Like, just like I can be triggered to use, there's behaviors that when she sees in me, it triggers her to fear.
Yeah.
And I'm to blame for that.
Yeah. Emotional trauma.
Right.
Yeah. That's really hard. So how has your relationship, like, how did that relationship develop? Because I'm sure there was a lot of trust that had to be rebuilt. And I'm sure as your excitement grew and as you saw her living out this life of recovery, that encouragement, excitement only was maintained, But how was that to rebuild your relationship with her?
To be honest, I think Amanda and I, at the very beginning, had a good relationship.
Yeah.
All her life.
Yeah.
But as she stayed clean, we talked a lot.
Yeah.
She told me what she had been going through and all this, and I shared what I felt.
Yeah.
And we just kind of just bonded.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell everybody we have a unusual relationship for mama and daughter because we like to hang out together.
Yeah.
And because we have gone through so much through the years, it's made us even closer.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
No.
What is your perspective on that? I'd love to know.
I agree. I think she was always, my mom's always pretty much been my safe place, So when I got clean and just trying to figure it out, luckily I got clean with someone, which doesn't usually happen.
Yeah.
But I really had to figure out how to do it. What do you do with all of this time? Like I was just as much addicted to the lifestyle as I was to the drugs, and then you quit using and you let go of all those people, and then you're where you used to be going nonstop, you're kind of stuck out, and stuck at home. And
Yeah.
but she's always been my place where I can go, and we, like she said, we had fun together, and so we did stuff. Once I got clean, I moved in with them, and I lived with them up until I got married, and so it was just a good time for us to draw closer together and me to figure out how to get my feet under me, in that kind of setting. So we've just been, ever since then, we've just been super close.
Yeah. That's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
And that's something that we really pray for and work towards with our residents, is seeing those familial relationships rebuilt. And sometimes it works great, and sometimes they don't see the fruit for years, And I think about one in particular who it was just a battle to even see one of her kids, and now she gets to see her daughter, and her son is about to come live with her for the first time in years, and that just is so encouraging, and it's one more thing to put in the box of this is why we do what we do, one more thing, and so I love that.
One thing I would say, because we do want this for our residents, we want these relationships restored. And one thing I can say for my mom is I hurt her in every way that you can imagine, pretty much. Like I was just very, in our addiction, we're self-centered and we're self-focused. And it's not that we don't love you. It's that it's the only thing we know to do. We can't stop. No matter how much we love you, you're not enough for us to stop.
Yeah.
And so I hurt her in so many ways, but she never threw it in my face. Like even when I was in my addiction, but especially once I got clean, like I never heard her say, "Oh, but you did this."
Yeah.
Right? Or this is what all you've done.
Yeah.
She never did that. And so she really was a safe place for me to go, so that when I am struggling and wanting to get high, I could go to her. And that's why she called that prayer meeting, right? But it started because I could go to her and say, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But I knew that she wasn't going to use anything against me. And I think
that's important.
it is important, because I think a lot of our women, they deal with that, where they've caused so much damage in their past, and it's just really hard for the family to let them breathe past it.
How did you guys work through that? Like, doing amends as part of the 12-step program. So what was that like for you guys?
For me, I knew that she was probably the one person in my life that saying I'm sorry to one more time wasn't going to matter. Like I had said it so many times, or, you'll never do this again, or I'm so sorry, or whatever. And, you get to a point with some people in your life where the words don't matter much. You have to live a life of amends. And so I just tried to do that. I tried to live it to the best that I could, that I was different and that things were changing. And I don't know for you.
I think a lot of it for me was when she would come to me and talk to me.
Yeah.
That helped me sort through things that I was going through, to understand and listen to what she's saying.
Yeah.
And realize that she was struggling, I was struggling.
Yeah.
And that the communication to me, not anger communication, angry, but sincere. Come on, let me tell you how I feel, and we're gonna work it out together. We're not gonna just, get angry.
Yeah.
We're gonna work this out together.
Yeah.
And we talk about that all the time. And you talk about that when you talk about effective communication, right? It's like listening to understand, not listening to have a rebuttal, like to have something to say
Prove
back.
a point, to be right. Yeah.
Right. It was like I truly want to know where you're coming from, and whether what you're feeling was something that I intended to do or not.
Right.
It still made you feel that way, and I need to love you enough to hear you say it and to try to understand it.
And do better next time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that insight. And you guys definitely comment down below if you have any more questions. We can bring Miss Sheila back in a future episode and have her answer a question, or Amanda, or another parent. But we really love you, Miss Sheila, and we're grateful for you, and we're so, so proud of you, T. So
Thank you.
Let's go into our next little segment. For people who don't know, Amanda Tornberg is a published author.
Oh my goodness.
She just rolled her eyes. She's also super humble, so it's like really hard for her to talk about this stuff. But I think people need to know, and because first of all, I think it's just really interesting, but I also think that this is one of those things where God turned something for good for you. And I know that it's been such a blessing for everybody who's read your journal. And so I just think more people need to know about it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about your book. What is your book called, Amanda?
It is called Graciously Broken, 40 Days of Hope.
How did you come up with that title?
Well, one is, it really is for the ministry. So it was just a way that we could help raise funds.
Yeah.
So everything that is made off of them goes straight back into the ministry. But I know one thing for me that I was so desperate for was hope, and so this is kind of this, you called it, those who've read my journal, and that's pretty much what it is. It's a 40-day devotional, but what it is it's 40 journals,
Yeah.
like entries.
Yeah.
Because it's all the ways that God has moved in my own heart, or lessons I've learned.
we do want to just briefly, and not briefly, shout out Lauren Reeves
Yes.
from Bluebird Press. She is a wonderful friend to all of us on staff, but also to the ministry. She and her husband, Justin, are just incredible, and her in-laws are wonderful people. And I know that you would say this and agree with me that this devotional would not have happened without her.
Right.
In many, many ways. And so, Lauren, we love you, and we're so grateful for you. And she's like so talented.
Yes.
I was thinking about this conversation last night, and I was like, what do I want to say about Lauren? I'm like, well, she's an author, she's a singer, she's a musician, she's a writer. She is now a publisher. She's
a teacher.
She just completed her Master of Divinity, I believe.
So, yeah.
She also runs a farm, I think. So she doesn't have enough going on at all in her life, but she's just super gifted, and we love her a lot. So Lauren, we love you. So what was the writing process like for you, and how long did it take to write those 40 devotionals?
Well, like I said, I mean, it pretty much took 17 years, of recovery, because some of them came, when I sat down to actually put together a devotion. It was interesting because God had been putting it on I was trying to write a book, For Graciously Broken, but God just kept bringing to mind, devotion, do a devotion, do devotions. And when I finally said, okay, and I sat down to do it, I just started being reminded of all these different lessons. So a lot of it I had written over the years and was able to kind of pull together and condense into journal devotion entries. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
This was never anything I would have thought I would ever do.
Yeah.
Amanda's the one who encouraged me to start writing. She wanted me to write curriculum and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't think that would be something I could do. But, God does what he wants to, and he uses whoever he wants to do it,
Was there anything that you felt like the Lord was kind of revealing to you during that season of writing the devotional?
I think one thing he did do with it was he used it to kind of infuse me with new purpose, right?
Yeah.
And so what once seemed impossible, like writing curriculum or something, all of a sudden he began to show me that, if he's calling me to it, he's going to do it through me. He's not asking me to do it in my own strength or my own wisdom or ability, because, left to myself,
That'll
I'm
only
a
get you
wreck.
so far.
I'm a wreck, And so I think he used it to really bring encouragement, but he also just used it to remind me.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you've been clean for years, you can somewhat forget if you're not careful. And so he just reminded me of all that he has done for me.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there, this is probably going to be a hard question, so it's okay if you don't have an answer, but is there a devotion or more than one that you really just love from your devotional? Is there one that sticks out to you?
Probably one of my favorites. I like the last one. It's titled "Fall Down," and just this idea that there's times where it's that's all that we can do is just fall down before him, and the beauty is that he says, listen, come to me, you can come boldly before me, and when you do, you're going to receive the help that you need, the grace that you need, and so often our sin keeps us from him because of guilt and shame and feeling like we don't deserve it. And the reality is we don't, and that's the beauty of it. That's why we can come boldly, because it's not because of what we deserve, but because of what Christ has done.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah. And one really cool thing that I think is, I've never heard of any other devotional that's done this, but maybe there is. But something really unique is that you added a worship song to every single devotional so that whoever's reading it can obviously read the devotional, they can journal if they want to, and then they can go worship or do that before whatever. And I just love that. And what kind of gave you that idea?
That's how I do devotions. My quiet times, I tend to, I journal a lot with mine. So I journal my prayers, I journal, and usually it would be a scripture, or a prayer or whatever. And then at the end of my time with God, he would always give me a song.
Yeah.
And so that was just my personal time. And so I figured that might be good to add, is because he tends to move in that way. He gives us songs in our heart, you know. And so
You're a big music girl.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love music, and
I
you're
do.
actually really talented. For anybody who doesn't know, she's a really good drummer.
Well,
You are.
thank you.
That's a weird way to say things. That's so cool. Yeah. I love it. I actually bought some copies to give as gifts, which I think I just outed myself. I won't say for what or for who. but yeah, I just think it's a really special thing, and also very generous, because you aren't making a profit on this. All of the proceeds, every single cent, is going towards Graciously Broken. And that is just such a huge blessing, because you could be making money off of this, and so, and it wouldn't be wrong for you to do that. But I know that we are just really grateful for you for pouring your heart out and using your gift to even more lay down your life and bless this ministry. So really grateful for you and proud of you for that. So this has basically just been like a cheerleading session for Amanda Tornberg.
Oh my gosh.
Because we love her so much. But again, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, definitely comment down below, either on our Facebook post or on our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as well on YouTube, and follow us on our Instagram at Graciously Broken Ministries 2016. And on Facebook at Graciously Broken Ministries. We love you guys. We're so grateful for you. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.